Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It's 20 Zulu on October 11th, 2024, and this is the weekend special. This is a show from DX Engineering where you never know who's going to show up and what we're going to talk about. But today we've got really great guests. We have with us today Kees W0AAE and Gregg W6IZT, and we're talking about all things Rotuma. Gregg, hello.
Greetings, Tim. How are you?
Great. Kees, I hope you're studying hard at school.
Yes, just came from class 5 minutes ago. Just ran down and plugged in the live stream. So yeah, school's going very well.
Good. Gregg, tell us about how this whole thing has been put together for you to go out to Rotuma, and then at the end of it, talk about the huge impact that you're having with getting young people involved here.
Yeah, this has just been an amazing experience, Tim. About 2 years ago, almost now, George Waldner, 887 JV, and I had a discussion about where we could take this technology and batted around the idea of doing something that's smaller, more compact, that addresses a different set of use cases than what George developed. And we came up with this, what we call next gen rib. And it's interesting because we didn't plan on the term next gen carrying across all of this, but the Yoda organization uses next gen to describe what they're doing as well. So we sent this down to Juan Fernandez earlier this year, and it performed real well. We did have some issues, but you always do in a first deployment. So we addressed them, and the next two deployments were to Dutch St. Martin and French St. Martin, and that went without a hitch. Didn't have to touch it the whole time I was there. It just ran. And backing up a little bit, after Juan Fernandez, we were looking at how we could take the technology and apply it in a beneficial way to DXpeditioning. We were batting around the idea of involving youth. I met with Neil at Dayton on Saturday. We talked a little bit. We shook hands. The next Tuesday, we had a press release. And we decided that we were going to go to Tokelau, but Tokelau shut down its borders to tourists because of some access challenges they were having. Their passenger boat had failed, and they had to lease a boat, and it could only service their citizens. So we looked at Rotuma. We started pulling this together. I started building a couple more ribs. We reached out to you for your support. And quite frankly, Tim, what you're doing for DXpeditioning is groundbreaking. I mean, we couldn't do this without you. So we started recruiting ops. I think we now have 42
of
42
youth so far, and then we have a few more OMs joining. So yeah.
And then we have a similar number of mentors, and these are experienced DXers and DXpeditioners. The remote operators all gather in a Slack channel, which is a glorified chat room. And one of the things that I experienced with Juan Fernandez that I didn't expect was the degree of camaraderie and that was taking place in this chat room. The conversation was exactly like any conversation you'd have sitting in a tent on an island somewhere. What propagation is good where? What are you doing to make good rate? All of the things that you would expect to hear. And that's really become very important to us because the young operators that we're bringing on board here, they're the next generation of DXpeditioners. And we want this experience to be extremely positive for them. Next year, and this is not just one trip. This is the beginning of a project that we really haven't publicized or talked about a lot. But we'd like to see 2 of these expeditions take place next year and 4 take place in 2026. There's a group that they happen to call themselves Next Gen DXpeditioners as well. The same group basically that went to 8Q7X earlier this year. They're going to the Marshall Islands. And we're hopeful that we can do one more. So we've got 2 trips under our belt. And this is not just about remote operators or getting young operators on the island. As our good friend Glenn Johnson, W0GJ, said to me recently, when you get on the plane, the work is done. And what a lot of people don't understand is how much effort is involved in one of these expeditions. And this is where we need to pull these young operators in so they understand what it takes to make it work. It's fundraising, it's promotion, it's logistics, it's a business when it comes right down to it. It's like a business that's shipping product and raising money, selling goods. And for us, it's all coming together real nicely. So, sitting here on the 10th of October, I couldn't be happier with where we stand. We've got 42 young ops, a similar number of Elmers, and I'm confident that this is going to come off well and just be a stepping stone for things to come.
Boy, that is great, Greg. Let's talk about who are the guys or the operators that are going to the island. Who will be on the island, on the boat, that will not be remote with you?
So it'll be Nathan Wood, K4NHW. Nathan is from the Atlanta area. And Dean Chapman, W2FQ, who's from the Boston area. Nathan's been on some contesting trips. This is Dean's first radio expedition, and he's real excited. As for the young ops, we have Connor, KD9LSV, who lives in St. Louis, who is graduate from Bradley University. And through his education at Bradley, he got connected with Craig Thompson, K9CT. Craig's an alum. And then Jamie M0SDV. Jamie's been on a few trips. And then Lucas, LY7J. This is his first trip. And one of the things that has become apparent is having more youth. If we were limited to 6 folks, so we have a 50-50 split, and that works. But what's really important is have a number of youth, young operators, because the relationships that they develop while they're on the trip is really important. They do things differently than we do. And we're hopeful that these 3 young operators together will continue to work together and maybe put together another trip of their own. Maybe the second trip in 2025 is just young ops.
Right.
What they really need, I've experienced guys for, as I think is in the planning stages. I try to delegate as much of the operational planning to the young hams, let them run with it, because that's how they're going to learn.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff. And so I want to shift over to the remote ops, and I want to talk about the remote youth ops. And Kees, here back in July at the ARL Board of Directors, they voted to award you the Hiram Percy Maxim Award for 2024, which is an incredible honor. So congratulations to you, and we're looking for more big things from you. But talk about your involvement with this historic DXpedition.
Yeah, so I've been involved with remote operation for since 2020, actually, during COVID. That's kind of when my remote operation has ramped up in regards to like remote ham radio, remote contesting, and things like that. So I've been on a lot of remote contesting teams, multis, stuff like that. When Ray was doing those back during the COVID days. I got a message from Neil Rapp, WB9BPG, during Hamvention. I couldn't make Hamvention this year, had a lot of stuff going on. But he messaged me just randomly out of the blue during Hamvention, and he said that Greg, W6IZT, had information regarding a Rotuma DXpedition that he wanted. Used to be a big player in this DXpedition. And he wanted me to kind of take the lead in conjunction with Youth on the Air. And so the Youth on the Air organization. And so that's kind of where it started. Greg and I talked over Zoom a few times with the entire team that would be on the island. And it kind of culminated in a lot of talking with other organizations like Yacht, Youth on the Air, getting emails of youth that I knew, and kind of sending out information regarding this DXpedition and some really good ops to these really good youth ops. And that kind of flourished into a worldwide effort in getting as many remote youth operators as possible. Because we have so much time with 3 weeks of operating, we needed to fill a lot of hours with 2 remote stations on the island. And so we have a worldwide crew of remote operators. I think there are more out of the States than in the States at this point.
Correct.
We got a lot of Turkish guys who had a lot of connections. The one Turkish guy coordinated with a ton of other Turkish youth, and now and now it's just evolved into just a worldwide effort from Asia, Europe, even some in South America. So it's just been great getting all those youth involved and putting their pictures on the website. I keep getting emails regarding questions about how to proceed. So it's great that we're kind of consolidating all these youth into one big sector, where they can start operating in this massive DXpedition and providing them with the resources to hopefully in the future continue with another DXpedition.
Well, that's great stuff, Kees. And thank you for your leadership to make this happen. Logistics are everything, as Gregg laid out here in the front end of this interview. The logistics can be overwhelming. Kees, let's talk about your environment. Where are you right now?
Yeah, I'm actually in the Ham Club of the Iowa State University Amateur Radio Club. It's been a busy week. We just had our recent satellite, a CubeSat, our first CubeSat deploy from the International Space Station. So I was busy this entire week setting up the ground station for that. We have yet to hear a signal from the CubeSat, but we've been trying to send commands to it to hopefully deploy its antenna. So since I was the only one with experience in developing satellite ground stations, I was tasked with that. So DX Engineering actually provided a G5500 rotator and rotator cables for our ground station. So I was kind of instrumental in kind of like going, hey, we need this ground station done ASAP. Can you, I recommend DX Engineering for getting our materials shipped quickly. So that was great. The ground station's been working fine. So hopefully in the future, I'll be using that for maybe amateur radio satellite passes. So it's been a lot of fun.
That is great stuff, Kees, and we certainly wish you continued success there at Iowa State. And all the club members are lucky to have you there and to be mentoring the next generation of amateur radio operators. Gregg, I want to make sure that when you get out to the island, that are you going to have Starlink? Can we do a live shot when you're out there?
Yes, we're going to have Starlink, and assuming we have connectivity, we are committed to do a podcast with you, Tim.
Yeah, that always has worked out well. It even worked out on Bouvet with Otis NP4G. So we'll look forward to that. And at DX Engineering, we are thrilled, whether it be helping Kees and his college, take care of a ground station, or you, Gregg, with all the things that we've supplied to your DXpedition. We're very proud of what you guys are doing. And all we ask is that you make a lot of QSOs, but most importantly, you come home safe, Gregg.
That's the plan, Tim. Also have fun. Having fun is job one.
Yeah, and having lots of fun. And I can see it in Kees's face, just how excited he is to be leading a lot of the youth that are going to get the chance of a lifetime to operate on a DXpedition remotely with the AA7JV technology that has just revolutionized what we can do on DXpedition. So, Kees, thanks very much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
And Gregg, we wish you the best. You've got a couple of weeks, which means, here at DX Engineering, if we got it on the shelf, we'll get it out the door to you quick.
I know that, Tim. In fact, I'm going to ask for some shirts. We would like to have some DX Engineering shirts when we do our team photos. So I'll shoot that off to Terry, and I'm sure that they'll be here sometime next week.
All right, that sounds great. Thanks for coming on, Gregg. Thanks for your leadership and your dedication to the best hobby in the world. And get on the air this weekend. You know, turn on the radio, have some fun. The Pennsylvania QSO party is going on this weekend, and other QSO parties are going on as well. And the solar flux is through the roof.
Yes,
So let's get on, have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Until next week, 73 from DX Engineering.